The adventures of Belnades and Belmont continue in Castlevania Season 3. Hey guys, what's up, what's happening? You got the King of Games 98 here at your service. How you doing? Hope y'all are doing good and staying safe. And, well, as if it couldn't be any more obvious by what you see in front of you and by the title of this video, I have finally finished watching Season 3 of Castlevania, the Netflix anime series, and this is my anime review video of Season 3 of the Castlevania Netflix anime series. I specifically did not say a 5-minute review because this video is probably going to be way more than 5 minutes long. So, just getting that out there, and so don't expect this to only be a 5-minute long video. Okay, so first and foremost, I'm going to start with how I would briefly sum up Season 3 of the Castlevania Netflix anime series, and, well, I'm going to do... Okay, so here's how I'm gonna here's how I'm gonna sum this up, because I wrote down on a piece of paper here my brief summary. So I'm gonna read to you guys the back of my Blu-ray copy of my Blu-ray copies case, and then I'm also going to read to you what I wrote down, so kind of give a little 2-in-1, summary. Okay, so I'm going to read you guys this right here on the back of my Blu-ray copies case, and I'm going to read to you guys what I wrote down. So, following Dracula's death, Trevor and Sypha are traveling. Alucard remains at the castle in misery, and a vengeful Isaac returns to Europe. Carmilla reunites with her vampire sisters in Styria, seeking to build a new future with Hector as her tool. Okay, so that is what I just read to you right there. And now, with that in mind, I'm going to read to you guys what I wrote down. So I guess you could say what I wrote down on my little script, I guess, if you want to call it that. I guess you could add on to that. So, picking up a month after Season 2, Alucard is very lonely by himself in the castle. Trevor and Sypha arrive at the town of Lindenfeld. Carmilla finally makes it back to her castle with her troops and Hector following behind her. Meanwhile, Isaac is looking for Hector to get back at him for betraying Dracula. Alucard is then visited by two people seeking his help to defeat the Japanese vampire known as Cho. Saint Germain discovers the local monks in Lindenfeld are more like a cult and are hiding something underneath their monastery. Saint Germain is looking for someone he lost in what is called the Infinite Corridor. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how I would briefly sum up Season 3 of the Netflix. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how I'd briefly sum up Season 3 of the Castlevania Netflix anime series without really spoiling anything. So, I hope that you kind of liked how I did that by reading what it says on the back of the case and then giving my own input of a brief summary. So I hope you guys like how I did that. Now, I'm going to, for the remainder of this anime review, I'm going to be talking about my thoughts, feelings, and opinions about Season 3 of the Castlevania Netflix anime series, and some information regarding Season 3 of the Castlevania Netflix anime series. And then that's going to do it for this review video. Okay. So, Season 3 of the Castlevania anime series premiered on March 5th of 2020. Holy crap, that was already a year ago. Wow, that feels weird. Season 3 of the Castlevania Netflix anime series is a total of 10 episodes. Each each episode, I would say, is between roughly 20 to 25 minutes long. And that's going to do it for the information regarding Season 3 of the Castlevania Netflix anime series. Now I'm going to be talking about my thoughts, feelings, and opinions about Season 3 of the Castlevania Netflix anime series, and then I'll wrap up this review video. Okay, so in my personal experience, when it comes to any TV show series, whether it be an anime series or a live action TV show series, usually after the first 2 seasons of a TV show, it kind of starts to go downhill, if you will. And what I mean by that is it starts to not really be as good as when the series first started. Like, the story writing, or the storytelling in episodes, isn't really that good. Or, the writers start to lose interest in the series, or the writers start to get lazy and recap stuff and do recap episodes. So, in my personal opinion, like after the first 2 seasons of a show, to me, it's really hard to keep said show really good and or still tell really good stories and hold the viewer's attention, and I wasn't really sure what to expect going into season 3 of the Castlevania Netflix anime series. So, with that in mind, I kind of was like, well, I I went into watching this with an open mind. But then in the back of my mind, I had that exact thought that, I don't know how good season 3 is going to be because, usually after the first 2 seasons, it just you could tell that, it just isn't as good, I guess is what I'm really trying to say, as like the first or second, or as the first and second seasons of a show. With season 3 of the Castlevania Netflix anime series, that is not the case whatsoever. And I was actually really surprised by that. Let me take that slipcover off to show you guys the cool artwork. I was actually really surprised by that. Season 3 of the Castlevania Netflix anime series was very fresh. It was original. It held my interest through all 10 episodes. It was gripping. I never, not once during one episode, found myself bored or lost interest. That is pretty damn good if you ask me. And with all this being said, Season 3 of the Castlevania Netflix anime series had just great storytelling. The animation, as usual, is also great. The music is great. I personally loved Isaac's, what I'm going to call his revenge journey in finding Hector. I thought that was just really cool how he went about it and just the way he executed it and, befriended a guy and then kind of went on a murder rampaging spree. That was just really cool and I found it interesting. And then, speaking of Isaac's revenge journey, the character known as Fly's Eyes, I found him really interesting. And Fly's Eyes was essentially created by Isaac while he is on his little revenge journey, and he first appears in the episode called The Good Dream. Sorry, I had to think for a minute about what the name of the episode was called. The name of the episode he first appears in is in season 3 of the Castlevania Netflix anime series, and it's called The Good Dream. Oh my god, that was such a damn good episode, and I loved that it introduced this character in it. Now, to me, Fly's Eyes doesn't really seem like a really big main character. You know, he kind of almost seems like a side or maybe like a background character, if you will, but still, he seemed very interesting to me, and I loved his backstory in the episode of The Good Dream when he's sitting down with Isaac uh, at a fire, and he's telling Isaac about his past and who he was uh, as a human on Earth. Dude, that just blew my freaking mind. I loved it so much. So it's like, okay, if there's one episode of season 3 of the Castlevania Netflix anime series you have to watch, I would say it would have to be the episode called The Good Dream. Now, speaking of specific characters, season 3 of the Castlevania Netflix anime series introduces the character called Saint Germain. Now, I like to think of myself as a pretty big Castlevania fan of the video game series. But even I don't know everything about the video games and about, specific characters. So, there are some things that I honestly don't know unless someone tells me it or explains it to me, or I just happen to look it up online. Prior Okay, so before having watched season 3 of the Castlevania Netflix anime series, I have never heard of the character called Saint Germain before in any of the Castlevania games or having to do with Castlevania in general, period. I have just never heard of that character. So, what did I do? I went online and I looked up the character. And I came to find out that the character, known as Saint Germain, is in the game Castlevania Curse of Darkness. So, now this makes more sense because I am pretty sure in my review video of season 2 of the Castlevania Netflix anime series, I'm pretty sure at one point in that review video I made it a point to say that yes, I own a copy of Castlevania Curse of Darkness for PlayStation 2, but even though I own a copy of this game, I have never played it. So just because I own a video game doesn't mean I've actually played it. And that is no one's fault but my own. I am not blaming anyone else but myself. That is just what happens when you're as big of a video game collector as I am and own over 1,000 video games and like over 100 different consoles. Okay, that's just kind of what happens. So going into season 3 of the Castlevania Netflix anime series and not knowing that about Saint Germain, and then after having watched season 3 of the Castlevania Netflix anime series and then looking him up online and finding that out about him, I thought that was really cool, and I really, really, really like how the writers and producers of this series are including characters from the video games. That to me is just so freaking cool, and I love that they do that with this series. I mean, okay, obviously it would be very dumb of them not to, because it's freaking called Castlevania based off of Konami's video game series, so it'd be kind of dumb of them not to do that. But at the same time, they didn't have to do that, but I love the fact that they are doing that and they're paying homage to the video games. Specifically, Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse which was originally released on the NES, and Castlevania Curse of Darkness, which was originally released on the PlayStation 2, which that is the version I own, and was also released on the original Xbox. So I love that they do that, and I just absolutely freaking love this series. I can't say a single bad thing about season 3 of Castlevania, the Netflix anime series. I absolutely loved it from start to finish. Therefore, my final rating for season 3 of the Castlevania Netflix anime series is a perfect 10 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Stay safe and take care.